this week there was a lot of good information to cover that I didn't previously know before. So the difference between arguments and non-arguments is arguments come to a conclusion. They have a point, they have the premises, they have everything lined up, they have the argument numbered. It's very organized. A non-argument is like a discussion, a explanation, stuff of that matter. So what I took away from 2.2 was explaining what was the most important to translate messy and confusing arguments into well-crafted arguments. So I thought that was interesting because I've never learned that before. I've never learned how to do that before, I guess. But it's making like you have a paragraph and then you make it simpler. So you'll put it in number order, but you'll put it sentence by sentence to make it line up, to make it easier to understand, I guess. That would be what I got from that. And then diagramming arguments shows your sub-conclusions to your conclusion. So you number that. It makes it way easier to understand that way. So you have them numbered, like 1 plus 1, or 1 plus 2 would be like the premises, and then you would have the sub-conclusion and the conclusion. And that's what I took from that. But I thought that was really interesting because I've never learned that before either. So for part 2, this is when I'm going to translate a messy argument into a well-crafted argument. So for my well-crafted argument, I came up with, it says that the one we had to do says musicians are excellent leaders. I mean, they're such positive role models. They're all the time coming up with good ideas. Bon Jovi, a fantastic musician, one of the best. Hey, all I'm saying is that excellent leaders should run for president. But to make that simpler, I put number 1, musicians are excellent leaders. Number 2, they're positive role models. Number 3, they're always coming up with good ideas. So number 5, musicians should run for president. That makes it a little bit easier to understand. Then for part 3, we had to diagram the argument. So I've got my argument here. And it's, if I do at least 50 push-ups every day, my pecs should be ripped by Christmas. That's number 1. I've been doing 50 push-ups every day, so I should be ripped by Christmas. That's number 2. My wife will be more likely to get me a chainsaw for Christmas if I'm ripped. That's number 3. I'm getting a chainsaw for Christmas. Number 4. So the 2 premises, I have my diagram here. The 1 plus 2 to the sub-conclusion 3, and 4 is my main conclusion. So doing 50 push-ups every day, his pecs should be ripped by Christmas. He does 50 push-ups every day, so he should be ripped. So those two go together. Those 2 premises go together. So 1 plus 2. The sub-conclusion is my wife will be more likely to get me a chainsaw for Christmas if I'm ripped, so I'm getting a chainsaw. So the sub-conclusion is his wife will get him a chainsaw if he's ripped. And number 4 is the conclusion. He is getting a chainsaw. So that was part 3. And then part 4 is the answers to the fallacies from McClellan's 4 Common Fallacies. I loved reading this. I thought it was really interesting because I have learned about fallacies before, but never in depth really to this extent. So I have that number, or set number 2 is 2A is post hoc. 2B is false dilemma, 2C is straw man, and 2D is ad hominem. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. But then I had to come up with my own fallacy. So I picked to do, well, if I could find it where I wrote it. So I picked the post hoc fallacy. And I thought that one was the easiest to understand, I guess. But I did it about my dog. So, it looks like my dog is jealous of my new puppy. So, my dog must be mad at me. So, my dog's not really mad at me if he's jealous of my puppy. He still gets love. So, it would be post hoc because it's coming up with like a false conclusion, and that conclusion's not true. My dog's not really mad at me, but even though he looks like he's jealous of my puppy, he's not mad at me. So that's what I did for my example of a fallacy for post hoc. But I'm pretty sure I explained everything. That's all we learned this week, which I enjoyed learning everything we learned this week. So thank you.